Well, howdy, y'all, and welcome to a special episode of the Memorial Day weekend episode of the High Voltage Live Show. I'm your host, Willie Snyder, coming to you live from the Mile High City, joined by my awesome co-host, Mr. King James Stallcup, over there in Big Sky Country, Texas. Give him an old hook 'em horns over there. Give him a double hook 'em horns over there, and he is representing the Stallcup Electrical Education, which is just blowing everyone's minds right now, especially my own. I just got the 2023 Illustrated Code Change book, and I love it, sir. It's been pretty much the topic of all my posts, and it looks like we already have some people popping in the chat here. Oh, welcome in, Bridget. Oh, awesome. Thank you so much. Good to see you. I'm glad you're doing well. She hasn't popped in a while, so awesome, Bridget. I hope you're doing all right. We miss you over there at the site. Yeah, it's so awesome. She knows all about the myth of the week, and we have a special myth for you just as this special episode. Appreciate James putting it together, and that was so awesome. And yeah, Bridget, welcome in. Yeah, we just decided to just do this kind of willy-nilly, so to speak. So our competition would say it's willy-nilly podcast, and the old hee-haw willy-nilly podcast, just hee-haw. Throw it down. It's really awesome. I really appreciate the participation. I mean, oh dude, Nat King Code was at like 500,000 last week, and it was just so awesome just to have so many people participating and just jumping in. Oh, awesome. Oscar's up in here. Welcome in, Oscar. Yeah, thanks for joining. We just decided to throw this together. It was James's idea. He just wanted to kind of throw out all his new material out there. And like I say, I will be ordering that grounding and bonding book. I mean, you probably should just send it to me because all the code changes you owe me from the 2020, but I feel like I'm satisfied now. I got all my, 2020, oh man, you passed the fast tracks test. All right, cool. Well, like I say, I guess it's not as hard of a test as I thought. So,
Oh God. Well, I will tell you, we just completed the grounding and bonding and the lightning protection. Now, the grounding and bonding will have the lightning protection in it, and then we did a separate publication for the lightning protection, all brand new illustrations. It took me about 2 months to go through and get all those new illustrations. But Dad and I are extremely excited. He said a new standard has been set. And
nice.
Which everybody will get to see the presentation. We even have the presentations that are ready to go. So when we do everything at once. So any instructors that are watching this.
Awesome. Welcome in. Juan Gonzalez is in the house. Thanks for joining tonight. Yes, sir. We do have a VIP seat for you, Juan.
But we
right up front.
Anybody that's an instructor, if I'll set the links up here in a second where you can go over. I don't think they're showing it yet. They're getting it ready for the advertisement. But any of our publications, anything that new ones we're coming out with, we will have them in color. And you send over to Builder's Bookstore. You show that you're an instructor. You will get the presentation included with purchasing the publication. So you're going to get that.
Congrats, Oscar. Congrats.
Yeah, no kidding. And we'll have all of that stuff. We've already got a lot of instructors been contacting me and everything, asking me, is that actually ready? I said, yeah, it's ready. We're about to roll it out. And I will tell you, probably here at the end of June, mid-June, somewhere in there, we'll be rolling out the generator, transformer, motor, compressor, all in color. In PDF, and like these are in PDF. But if you want to purchase it in color, Builder's Bookstore will accommodate that. Just call them and tell them they'll do that. Then right after that, we have the Journeyman and Masters coming out. So you're going to have 5 new publications coming out, all in color. of the
Nice.
highest detail quality, which I will show all that here after we go through the rest of the week and everything. I hope everybody
Okay.
enjoys what I'm about to show, and I will go over and show some of the stuff that we've done over in uh, uh, dealing with the design book. We've got the first thing we're going to do in that. The first thing we did was grounding, but the second thing we're doing in there, because it's all hard illustrations, will be the hazardous location. And
Nice.
I think when everybody sees that and I show the new illustrations, I think everybody's going to be impressed with what they're seeing and the level of detail in the illustration. So that's what I got planned
Yeah.
tonight.
Well, and I want to just do a big shout out. We're over on Rumble now. So if you guys don't like YouTube and the algorithms, whatever, head over to Rumble. There's a lot of different things that happen with Facebook, so we're streaming over as much as we can to like our pages and whatever we can do. So thanks to everyone for joining. It really means a lot. And like I say, we have a lot of success because you guys are successful. So. Uh, PB. That's a good one, Juan. That's probably going to be kind of in the design book, kind of coming up later. Um, the PB systems, James, but you could probably answer that better than me.
Let me look here. I was getting something over on the other side ready.
He just basically said any
Any
suggest.
section? Oh, hell yeah, we do. Matter of fact, if you go back, you can go back many cycles when it first started and look in our code change books. We got a whole bunch of things that we covered when PV first come out to all the changes that were made thereafter. I have to go back and see. I think it would start about 2014, 17, somewhere in there. Um, we do have those PV systems. And matter of fact, I will pull up and show you some of them illustrations from the 2023 code changes so you can get an idea, and I'll pull up the 2020 also. Okay.
Yeah, and what I really liked was there was a lot of confusion going around where people didn't know if PB was going to be like a separately derived system, how you should ground it and everything. And I went and referenced your guys' stuff, and like that's what was so awesome was I went and referenced the Stallcups, and you guys referenced 250-122 as a supply side grounding. So
Sure,
I
we
thought
go
that was
through and the level of detail that we're doing the illustrations in is really going to help improve in showing. I mean, we're really putting a lot of time in to making sure we're showing as much as we can. Because I mean, you're confined to an illustration. There's so much you can put in there, but we have a lot of NEC loops and different illustrations. We even have standard loops. So we may be referencing doing something. We'll say, hey, you know what? You need to also look at 70E. You may need to look at 70B. We'll give you the sections there. There may be something in OSHA we want you to look at. I mean, we go through like we're doing grounding, and we'll have a grounding loop there reference you to NFPA 780. And it just goes on and on. And I can tell you, you can go look at all the other publications out there. I promise you're not going to see that in any of the other publications. And
Yeah, so part of the reason why James is doing this too is because I told him that there was a lot of guys that promised they were going to show something better, and then they pinky swore and everything, and like this was a little while ago, but we're still. I just told you, James, you're just gonna have to be ready for when they actually do come through with something better. But it's awesome to be doing these, and we appreciate Mr. G in the house.
I think we need a
And-
bona fide monthly magazine just for the field. For the well, yeah, I tell you what we're gonna do. I can, Dad and I've already discussed it. We're getting I mean, there's a lot of things going on, but I'll actually pull it up and show it to you, the website. But we actually on the website we're gonna have a blog that'll be over there, and on that blog I can set them under different headings, and we'll do articles on PV systems and everything. It's sort of interesting because I've spent, God, the last 10 years studying all kinds of stuff. And one of the things I learned is I actually have a program that helps me set up for the algorithms and everything. So whenever I'm taking and I'm doing a post, I can go in and use keywords, and then based on the way I do the post and everything, it ranks it up high on the Google search engine. And as a matter of fact, not only that, it'll tell me what my competition is based on certain wording. So we're already driving traffic to the site. We ain't even really done anything yet, but
Right.
we've learned all these different little techniques that we've spent quite a bit of money on. And now with the new illustrations, the books and everything coming out, we're ready to start kicking some rear end, and hopefully everybody enjoys what we're about to show this evening.
Nice.
You ready to do a meme?
Well, I wanna wish everyone a happy Memorial Day, and all the veterans out there. Thank you so much for your service. You know, freedom isn't free, and you know, thanks for all the vets out there that
Amen.
gave the ultimate sacrifice to keep us free in a free country. So
It even has a
appreciate
more special meaning to me because my birthday is actually 11/11, Veterans Day. So,
Right.
I'm 11/11. I've known about that ever since I was little, so.
Right.
But this week, Bill was feeling a little froggy, so he sent me over 2 memes. So we'll have 2 memes. We'll run back to back this week.
right.
Froggy over there this week.
Yeah.
Okay, let's roll the first meme, then we'll do the second one.
All right. Yeah, I really like that one. That's actually Mad Dog, and the whole reason I decided to do the Vietnam veterans one this week was because I play poker with the guy, and he actually took first place at the pool at the poker league, and he was a Vietnam vet, and so it was really awesome that it just kind of got me fired up to do some Vietnam stuff. And like I say, I was barely born when Vietnam ended, you know what I mean? And so it was like I kind of grew up in a lot of that turmoil and stuff around like the vets returning and stuff like that. So I thought it was kind of cool to kind of visit that and throw it up in there. So awesome. And you're lost, but you're not forgotten, Mad Dog.
Amen. All right, let's roll your second meme.
So it's really funny.
I just saw you had it copyrighted, JS. I just caught that. That's funny.
Yeah. So that's Joseph Shorin. But anyway,
That's funny.
I would have said KJS if I would have copyrighted different. But no, it was so funny because I had 1,000 posts. Thanks a lot, everyone participated in the post over on Electrical Code Discussion for Awesome Electricians. I did a nameplate post this weekend, and it was really awesome. Like, there was so many correct answers in there, and it just means a lot that we're getting through to everyone. And so Bridget's actually thanking you for the link. So awesome. Yeah, Bridget, check it out. And everyone's going to be getting their J-dubs up in here. And welcome in.
That's my daughter.
I know. She's over there trolling. She's over there King James trolling.
Hey, since you're watching, I called you back there, not you didn't call me back, so don't act like I didn't call you.
Yeah, and Mr. G's a 7-footer chopped in half Latino hillbilly whose knowledge for electrical far exceeds his limitations and willing to become a team member with any prominent group. So that's awesome, Juan. We love having you here, sir. Welcome in, Mr. G.
All right, let's throw down your myth of the week. It generated tons of responses this week.
Oh, yeah.
Let's roll it.
It's time for Myth of the Week.
All right. Thanks so much, everyone, for hitting the likes tonight. Really appreciate it. It means a lot. Helps James get value to his awesome material he puts together every week. And so this is our extra myth of the week. True or false, I just got this unit wired up for my job site with number 12 THHWN on a 40 amp overcurrent device. Now I find out the inspector is going to check it out on Monday. Will it pass? And this was an interesting one. I do this. I don't always do it, but everyone knows me knows that I do some holiday inspection posts just to kind of make people think, because they're like, yeah, the inspector's not coming out there Monday, But it's kind of funny, and this was the actual funny story. This actually was a unit that was wired on one of the job sites, and they had originally pulled number 10s to it. And I looked at it, I was like, oh, you could have did it with number 12s, it's totally good to go. And then they decided that, nah, it's on a 40 amp overcurrent device, we need to pull 8s out there. So they went and ripped the number 10s out, pulled the 8s in, left the number 10 ground. So, to me, they basically took a code compliant install, made it a code violation. I don't really think it's that big of a deal to have a number 10 equipment ground when you upsize the ungrounded conductors. But per 250.122b, which we've covered that myth before, you're supposed to upsize the ungrounded. If you upsize the ungrounded conductor, you're supposed to upsize the grounding conductor proportionately. And so that's what would make it a code violation. To me, honestly, if you look at this is really a good one to show. And this is probably one of my first ones when I got into the nameplate posts where I actually said, wow, this one's really good. Because if you go look at what we go off of is the temperature rating of the terminals. So your temperature rating of the terminals inside the AC condenser and the temperature rating inside the terminals of that overcurrent device, whether your breaker or whatever, then that would actually be rated at 75 degrees C. So the code actually gives us this permission that on this nameplate is code compliant. So that's one thing you have to think. This UL listing actually aligns with the NEC. Me and James have talked about this a lot. And what happens is you go in there and the code gives you permission to go directly up to 75 degrees C column, which is 25 amps. It says number 12 is good for 25 amps. Well, now the one thing a lot of people miss on this is if you look at your full load amps, it's 18.5, and then you look at your fan load, that's going to be 1.01 or 1.05, something in there, which gives you right around 19.55 amps. And then they multiply 125% for your continuous duty, and then that's what gives you your 24 amps. And so that 24 amp minimum circuit amp capacity is with your 125% calculated in. That's why the National Electric Code gives you permission to go directly off the 75 degrees C column. So then you go over to 75 degrees C column, number 12 is good for 25 amps. You go over there, maximum overcurrent device, 40, boom. There you got number 12 on a 40 amp breaker, good to go. There is a little snafu on this that I talked to James about this before and actually went over it with some of the other code teachers. There is certain times where a 40 amp overcurrent device won't accept a number 12 conductor, but that would be the only way that would make this a code violation.
Right. Well, I actually, because I had some time, I actually went over and different groups and read all the responses and everything. And some of them, I'm just going to say you're wrong. All right. And I'm going to prove all of this. I went ahead and I put everything together so you can see word for word exactly what it says. I did everything based on the 2023 National Electrical Code for my references. And then I went ahead and I put together showing calculating the conductors and also calculating the overcurrent protection device. Okay.
Yeah, I ran into something I thought was funny. I noticed that Mike Holt actually changed his app because now if it's on, and I thought that was really interesting. So like now, since it's coming off a 40 amp overcurrent device, he's got it coming off with the number 10 equipment ground. And I thought that was pretty interesting based on the 2020 code change and 2023 code change.
Well, when I go through this, one of the things I think everybody will appreciate is, there's been this argument, they've tried to argue with me on motors, because I establish a minimum, next, and maximum size when I'm sizing my overcurrent protection device. And they say there's no minimum. I said, no, it's a starting point. You can go below that. I said, go look at some of the AC unit nameplates. I said, some of them have on their minimum hacker breaker size and maximum. I said, how did they determine that? It's based on the percentages over in 440.22a, which I'm going to prove all that in a minute. But I'm also going to show in the 2023 cycle, they actually changed the language. And if you go look at 430.52 C1, A and B now is what it is, in the 2023 for the AC, it looks like it did in the 2020 for 430.52 C1, which had exception 1 and 2. Well, now in this one, you're
it looks like Bailey's giving me a little compliment over there with my music choice. So. Thanks, Bailey.
She's lying. She listens to Halsey. I knew that. I actually, when she was younger, I got her tickets where she was actually backstage. She got to meet Halsey and everything. It was probably one of her biggest highlights ever. She got to go see Halsey and meet her. So I was like, yeah, whoopee. I actually went to we had a club we went to. It was over in Dallas, and I'm up there getting a drink and everything, and it was a club that was owned by Stevie Nicks, and she was there, and she actually come up, talked to me and everything. I had a drink with her and actually danced with Stevie Nicks. I tell you that's how long ago it was. That was back in my 20s, brother. So, and I'll say,
dude,
he is very short.
Bailey's over there on a Facebook side too, so I have to give her a little.
Oh, awesome! All right, now
she said you're a cool dad.
She's telling the truth. I'm freaking awesome, man. She's a little asshole. All right. So when you look at 440.32, this is where you get into your branch circuit conductors, and you've heard me say this, especially when we just got through doing the Journeyman layout. I said take all your motors at 100%, and one motor that's the largest, you take at 125%. Well, the same thing is going to happen here. You got all your different motors here, and if you have just a single motor compressor, you take it at 125%. Any additional motors, you're going to take at 100%. Okay, so I'm going to show that calculation here in just a minute. And then when you go look at 440.22a, if you notice here, you've got two exceptions. Now, I encourage anybody to go back and look at the 2020 NEC and go look at 430.52C1. You'll see it just like this. Okay, but in this one, I expect this to change in the next cycle. I think they'll probably put 440.22AA and AB. I don't know if they're going to leave it as an exception. I hadn't got there yet to see it, but I would assume they would want to keep it similar to like what they did with 430.52C1A and B. Now, when you look at this, it talks about sizing the overcurrent protection device, and it tells you it has to be capable of carrying the starting current of the motor, and then it tells you that that protected device will have a rating are setting not exceeding, now pay attention, not exceeding 175%. So if you can't exceed it, that means you're going to do what? Drop down to the next standard size. Okay? That's your starting point. That's what we call the minimum. Okay? Yeah. And then if you look at exception 1, you don't even have to do a calculation or anything. If the motor fails to start due to inrush currents, then just go to exception 1. It allows you to go up to the next standard size. And then exception 2 states if it still won't start, it'll allow you to have a rating or setting to be increased, but it tells you once again it shall not exceed 225%. That's your maximum. So once you calculate it, you can't exceed it, so you're going to drop down to your next standard size. Okay?
Sure.
Now, one of the things that I looked at, and Bill actually asked me this one, but when they were saying, oh, well, you got to go up in the equipment grounded conductor size based on the overcurrent device. I saw some of that, and I was like, no. If you actually look at 250.122A, what does it say in the second sentence? It says the equipment grounding conductor shall not be required to be larger than the circuit conductor supplying the equipment. So like in your example there, if I'm going over there and I'm running number 12s over there, I don't have to be any larger than a number 12 on my equipment ground. That's ridiculous to say the equipment ground has to be larger than the circuit conductors. Well, this takes care of that right there.
I knew you'd love that one.
Mm-hmm. Well, I saw there's a couple stated that on the groups. I was like, no. And I was going to comment, but I was like, yeah, I'll just do it on the podcast where everybody can see the text here. So all you have to do is just read it. It's very specific. It's not ambiguous at any point here. It's telling you it doesn't have to be larger than what the phase conductors are. Now.
Yeah, and the thing that was funny was that was in Mike Holt's app. And so it's funny because I've been just kind of messing with his app like the whole time. I don't even think I could get his app anymore because I just messed it up so much. But it was just like, you can't do number 14 anymore in there, because there's just too many variables like that. You can't just make an app that covers everything. So it was really funny. I just kept going in there like, oh, so you could do number 12 for like 600 feet, and it was just hard. It was funny, actually. It was kind of comical. I think you saw some of the screenshots on that, but he went in there and tried to keep changing his app to be right, and then it just even made it worse. But I thought it was funny.
Well, here's a good example, and this proves exactly what you were saying, where they got the 24 amps. We had 18.5 amps for the condenser, for the compressor, and then the condenser was 1.05 amps. So if you take the largest, which is 18.5 amps at 125%, that'll give you 23.125. Take the 1.05 for the condenser at 100%, and add that up, that'll give you 24.175 amps. If you go look at 220.5B, I'm not over 0.5, so I can just drop down, which is a 24 amps, okay?
Yeah.
So now, all you're going to do is go over and look at table 310.16, pick up the 75-degree C column, come down. It'll tell you number 12 is good for 25 amps. Therefore, I could install a number 12 conductor here, okay? Now, let's look at the overcurrent device. Now, we set it up. What is the minimum, next, and maximum size overcurrent device with the exact same thing? 18.5 amps for the compressor, and the condenser is 1.05. So 440.22A says for the minimum, I can take it at 175%. So I'll take that 18.5 amps times 175%, and then just add the 1.05 condenser on there, and that'll give you 33.425 amps. I've got an extra 5 there. Tell you, I've been working on it late. So,
dude, I think it's badass, man. Everyone's loving it.
Now, it says I can't exceed it, so if I go look at table 240.68, the next size below that's what? A 30 amp. Now, if it won't start due to inrush currents, then I can come over here and look at the next size and look at exception 1, and it automatically allowed me to go up without doing any further calculation to a 35 amp. Now,
and a lot of people, that's where a lot of confusion came into this, because a lot of people think like, oh, well, hey, you know, I'm trying to get as close to 25 as possible, so I put it on a 30. Now all of a sudden the motor won't start. They give you permission to go at 35. A lot of people don't think you could do that.
Sure, and that's why I wanted to go through the sections so everybody can see what I'm showing you here. The information's right there in those sections. Now, after that, I can go and look at exception 2, and it allows me to go up to 225%. So I take the 18.5 amps times 225%, add the 1.05 amps for the condenser there. That gives me 42.65 amps. It said, once again, you can't exceed the calculated load. So the next size below that, looking at table 240.6a, is a 45 amp. So you can see I can do a 30, 35, and 40 amp overcurrent protection device based on 440.22a, and my conductor size was a number 12, and the equipment ground never has to be larger than the face conductors, and that's it.
Busted. Whole bunch of people got busted on this one.
Yeah, well, you know, that's why we go through all these different things and show you exactly what the requirements are. You know, I've said this for a long time. Just read the sections and see what it says, and then go from there. And that's why I like, you know, like this particular myth, I wanted to go through and show the calculations, show all the sections and everything, and then let you make a decision from there. See if you agree with me or not. I'm just reading what it says. So,
yeah, and it really means a lot for everyone out there that contributes to all this stuff, especially Juan. Like, so Juan's got a comment about upsizing the grounding conductor when upsizing the current carrying conductor should be the same logic as it pertains to Ohm's law, true or false, or somehow true, inevitably true. So basically what that comes down to, Juan, and like I say, I don't necessarily agree with 250-122B, but when you look at what it says, and James might disagree with me on this, but I'm not sure. I know we've kind of talked about it in the past, and I know James thinks that you size that grounding conductor off the whatever your motor load is, but when you come into the actual code language, it says when the grounding conductor is upsized, or when the ungrounded conductors are upsized beyond what is deemed suitable. So in this case, with this nameplate, number 12 would be deemed suitable. Now you could upsize the number 10 and you have a number 10 ground, that's totally fine, and that was my whole point behind this. The foreman that I was on this job site, he decided he wanted to pull number 8s. Well, that's fine, you could pull number 8s, but now that number 10 is going to be deemed inadequate, basically, because you upsize beyond what was deemed suitable. So number 10 would have been completely suitable. Now you went to a number 8. Now you have to upsize your equipment ground proportionately to your ungrounded conductor. So now you have a number 8 that you just upsize for no reason when number 12 is completely, and so it runs into this really hard kind of territory, James. And to me personally, I don't think it's a real world issue to put like a number 10 ground with number 8 ungrounded conductors on there. I think that's fine, but you have to understand that circular mills is what we're judging for the ungrounded conductors, and when you have that equipment ground to clear that fault, that's where you run into that problem, is because basically that equipment ground is there for over voltage and that kind of stuff. And I'm not exactly sure why 250-122B exists. I feel it's more for consistency.
Well, let's just look at it this way. There's a lot of determining factors that I would ask before I made a decision on that. Maybe they ran over to an AC unit and say they're 200 and something foot away. Well, now they had to increase the size of the conductors going over there, and the based on the size of the conductors going over there, then I would consider that the equipment ground would just be the size of the conductors going over there, because you're going for a longer run. I just well, of course, yeah. They want. That's why when I teach grounding, and that's why you definitely want the Stallcup's grounding and bonding book, because we actually teach where you want to get everything back to one point and not have, there is such a thing as overgrounding. And, it reminded me, we did a job down in Fort Worth here, and they had a basement down there. And what they did, they had their service and everything was designed for this, the whole mechanical. And what they did, they put a ground loop all around the whole basement and had it all. I mean, it was really nice looking. And then from there, they went up to where they needed to go. And that caused a problem because you created a lot more path. There was many paths for it to travel, and it wasn't going back to one point. And they were picking up all kinds of surges and everything, and they just couldn't figure out. They thought, hell, we did extra grounding on this thing, and then we went out there and explained it. So what we did, the conductors they had coming down that were tying in, we took and moved them over to a terminal bar that went back to where? One point. And then we said, you can leave this up here if you want, but I would take and move all of that down to ground and tie it in, and that'll give you a better ground all the way around your basement area. They did that. Right. They didn't have no more problems after that. So nice. It just sort of depends what you're getting into. And, I've been out on a lot of jobs that they just had me come out just for expert advice. Like I had to go out to NASA. They were having some problems with their grounding and everything. And what had happened was they were coming down and they had put all this new electronic gear in, and they took and set up a bus bar over there that they brought everything into, and then they brought it over to the ground bar over here. Well, what happened is everything was tied in there, then going back over here. Well, guess what become the shortest path to ground? That electronic equipment, and they were blowing boards and stuff. So what we did, we separated all that, and everything else that was coming down, we brought over to a one-point location, and then all the electronic equipment we tied in and brought it over to that location, and it completely cleared everything up. So that's what I'm saying.
And Juan has a good point there. That's what we're trying to do, Juan. Our goal is to have that low impedance fault path. That's what we're trying to achieve by doing that. So great comments. Really love all the comments that's in the chat tonight. Really appreciate Bridget showing up. Haven't seen Bridget in a while. And it means a lot to me and James to be doing these. Just have all you guys out there. Like I said, I get questions. And this is a good one too, James, if we're talking about grounding and bonding. We did one on 250.12, and it wasn't really on 250.12. It was just on if you needed to scrape the paint for a grounding lug, and you're scraping the paint when you tap and thread it, And it was funny because we got a lot of hate mail that week from a lot of people just sitting there, just didn't understand it, just saying that we're hacks and we didn't follow the code and everything else, saying we're ignoring 250.12. But I honestly learned a lot that week, because 250.12 to me had nothing to do with tapping lugs or with putting lugs in panel boards or anything. It had to do with raceways connecting, and cables connecting to metal enclosures.
That's right. That's what it was. And that's why I was saying, when you go in and you look, just look at the panel boards that come out and stuff. They're already tapped in. They didn't scrape no metal off there. And they have to consider the National Electrical Code. That's where they were using 250.88. So, right. I get it. Anyway, let's roll topic. We got a lot
right.
to show tonight. This is going to be
Sounds
awesome.
good.
Hope everybody likes it. All right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this up in share screen and all that, and I'm going to show all the different windows and everything we have here. But what I'm going to start off with is I'm just basically going to show the new grounding book and see what everybody thinks about this. All right. Well, actually, I pulled up the lightning protection first. Okay. This is going to be really nice for everybody, anybody that's dealing with NFPA 780. We've already had a couple of companies that actually deal with NFPA 780 and do lightning protection. They've already contacted me and said, we want that publication. So this will give
I do like the green lightning, and I do like you using the word myth. You must have checked that on there, and they must have said that was a good.
Which one are y'all seeing right now? Y'all seeing the grounding book?
Yeah, grounding systems for safety. Oh, I thought you said you pulled up lightning. Oh.
Okay. No, which one are you seeing right now? The grounding?
Yeah, grounding electrical systems for safety.
Okay.
But I was just saying I do like the green lightning on the cover. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, we did quite a bit on this and doing different designs and everything. And the way that we've written the publication, there's a lot of grounding tips in there, and it basically goes in behind and talks about some of the myths on grounding and bonding and things that you need to look at. So as you start getting into this, one of the things I think everybody's going to like is we have a table of contents that's set up here. Anywhere you're looking in green here, all you need to do is just come in here and just say, all right, I want to look at electrodes permitted for grounding, for instance. So you can click this, it'll take you right there. You get into all your different electrodes and everything. And as you can see, we have taken a lot of time in development of the illustrations. And I will show these blown up a little more than what it looks like in the publication. We also have the presentation I'll be able to show. But as you're running through this, there are some cool little features in here. So if I wanted to look, I could just be rolling through here and say, I wanted to look at a certain thing here. Let's say right here, you'll see where I'm looking at a ground ring. It'll automatically, you can just click the illustration where it says see figure 68, just click it and it pops you right over to it. Okay. Nice. Now, a lot of these are just right after on the next page, but there's going to be some where we're going to refer back to something else. So like here, see, we're talking about driven rods here in this figure here, 71, where we're telling you, you know what, you also need to go back. You're going to want to look at figure 69 and 73. Now, this is a good illustration because this is one we were talking about doing for a myth. But when you look at the National Electrical Code and you're determining the how far you want to be away or your spacing, you're going to look at 250.53A3. But what we're going to tell you is based on the rods, what are some of the recommended practices here and what actually produces the best resistance. Now, IEEE said it gets to be a better resistance when you get 12 foot away. But if you actually took the 8-foot rod and an 8-foot rod, if you went 16 foot away, that'll actually give you better resistance because you're not going to impede on the other rod. But in order to know what the rod requirements are here, then I go back here to 69 and look at here. Here's all your different rods and how you put them in and everything. Now, you're going to see this all over this publication, where you're going back and forth, and you get to the information you need very quickly. Now, like this one here, somebody, I don't know why they couldn't understand when I posted this for, but you'll notice like we're showing the conduits leaving, they're not connecting to anything. We have a dotted line. Well, the reason we put a dotted line in light gray there is because we actually have a white conductor there. We wanted you to be able to see the white conductor. Okay?
Right.
So that is a level of detail that you're going to get into when you start looking at it. This is where you get into the lightning. You'll see when I start looking at lightning protection here in a little bit, we actually go back and we tie in here with 250.60 and 250.106. Okay.
Yeah, and that's a myth right there. Just because a lot of people don't think that the lightning protection has to tie into your equipment grounding system.
Sure, and I'll show you some other cool stuff here that we've done. We actually have done a little extra that you won't see this probably in the other grounding books, but we actually went in and we get into where you get into even satellite grounding and your lead-in wires coming in, and how do you do the bonding jumper and all that, showing it needs to be a number 6 going out there. And I want to point something out here. This gets pretty in-depth a little bit, and there's additional information here. We have the NEC loop for grounding, but look, there's also a UL loop with the figures here and what the intent of what we're trying to explain here. I'm telling you, you're not going to see that in the other publications. So Dad and I spent a lot of time going through all this. Here's another.
Yeah, and you just to give a shout out to everyone out there. We've actually been there out in the patch, James, out in Wyoming and stuff, and they're like, "Oh, we'll just use the minimum size grounding."
Mm-hmm.
Well,
sure.
Where do you find that? Where do you find that at?
Yeah,
like there wasn't any publication we could look up that said what the minimum size grounding or bonding was for that cable tray, or for that when you're hooking to a 4-aught triad, stuff like that. We need to know that when we're out in the patch. And
well, I'm gonna show you that in lightning protection in a little bit.
Nice. Yeah, we ended up just guessing,
Well, and here's another one. This is like where you're coming in and you're setting up a halo ground around. In other words, you're creating like an equipotential plane for this halo ground for your high frequencies. We show you how to go in and do this even. So when I tell people come in and look and compare to what's out there and what we've done and everything, I think you'll notice that there's been a lot of work that has been done just for this publication alone. And I will tell you, it's very detailed. We get in, basically we cover every section in Article 250 here. You can just pick a section and say, I want to go look at this, I want to look at this, and I want to look at this. We've got it here. And everything is in full detail and color. Here's one we were talking about a while ago, increase in size for the equipment grounding conductor. And we're showing you over here where you're going to another panel board and you're going a great distance here, and you had to increase due to voltage drop. We show you how to do the calculation here to do this. And then we tell you there, even in here, we have a little thing right above it. We tell you about other factors that you'd need to consider that could increase the size. So when I tell people that this thing is fully illustrated, it is fully illustrated. Now that we got that, let me go over and let me look at lightning protection. I want to show you what lightning protection looks like. I think everybody.
Thanks everyone for hitting the likes tonight too. That's freaking awesome. We got.
I hadn't paid any attention.
Yeah, everyone's smashing that like button. Appreciate it.
Well, I do appreciate that. We have done quite a bit to this, and where I can tell you, Dad's very happy, and when he's getting happy, you've done something really nice and that he likes it. All right, now here's lightning protection. Let me show everybody what we got here. Now,
now that's the one I was thinking. That's dope.
you like,
I like
that cover?
Yeah, that's cool.
When I was putting these covers together and everything, Dad he was coming in. Can you do this? Can you do this? And I just slowly but surely just kept adding to everything. All right.
Nice.
Now the same thing happens here when you get into lightning protection. We have everything just set right here. Whatever it is you're wanting to look at, you could come in and say, I want to look at locating arresters at service equipment. Just click it. You get over here. Here's your location. That we get in and we start talking about all of this. All right. Now, I want to put in here that if you look, we have a grounding tip in this figure 31 right below, and see where it tells me go back to figure, looks like 28 there. Just click and it takes you back over here to look at talking about the traveling waves that run down the utility lines, and that's from the IEEE Green Book that goes in and talks about this. And I tell people, go in and just look at what's out there and then get in to where you start comparing. Matter of fact, I don't even think there is a full publication out there that's even dedicated to NFPA 70. This may be the first one. I'm not aware of any at this point.
So it's still coming. They pinky swore me, so I'm not trying to throw my apprentice under the bus, but my apprentice knows who he is. When we were doing this, we had some of those lightning protection on top of the HVAC equipment, and they had self-tapper screws in them. And I was like, no, when you're putting these self-tapper screws in there, you're not going to go through anything vital on the HVAC equipment. But I guess somebody did, prior to us, actually screwed through one of the lines in the HVAC equipment.
Right.
So when you're putting those lightning arresters on that HVAC equipment, just make sure that you're clear. A lot of times I like to drill a little pilot hole through, make sure that you're clear, and make sure you're not going to hit a line, and that way when you go put your screws in there, you make sure that not hitting any vital equipment up there on the roof.
And this is good here because this gets in showing your surge protection at the service equipment. So we show and we basically go in and tell you got all your facility piping and everything in there. We talk about all that piping, grounded the ducts and everything needs to be all tied in and bonded back. This is how you take and provide for your surge protection. So as you go through all this, I mean, it just really gets in depth on everything. We actually have one which I thought was pretty good, but like here, we're showing you here that bottom illustration 14. This is where you're setting up and you actually have metal roofing on top. Right. And then you may say, well, what if you got one and you've got shingles, a different setup? See what I'm saying? And we're showing you how to take and come down, how to run them conductors down. Here's another one here where you get into your counterpoise grounding. So you got two different top installations there you can look at, and then we talk about the fittings that you use there and everything. So, and as you go through, then we even talk about how you do your conductor bends. I mean, there is tons of information here. We talk about when you got your grounding electrodes, how you go down, tie into those, how you take and come in and set up for your down conductors and setting a ground ring around it and tying it in to your concrete encased electrode. So that's what I tell everybody. You come in and you start looking at all these different things, you start learning more about it. We even come in and show you your stripe termination devices, how they would set up on a chimney or if they were set up on the side of a roof. So
and we'll get that as a topic. Juan wants a topic basically where he wants an explanation regarding voltage drop grounding and basically the relationship between voltage drop and grounding.
I can do that. That's very simple to do all that. As a
Yeah,
matter of
so
fact,
we'll get
I'll
that
even
part.
show you where you go look at 200.22 and show it where you even have to consider when you have the grounded neutral conductor. You still have to do that too. I'll show you all that.
There's a voltage potential there.
Yeah. So, matter of fact, in our design book, we go through and show you all of that stuff. Okay.
Nice.
Now, with that in mind, let me show what the presentations look like. This is what anybody that is going to be, that's an instructor looking at presentations to do and everything. We actually have completed those, and they're basically ready to go. So let's see here. Where is what I want to find? That's chapter 1 and 4. Here we go. So I'll look at the grounding first on the presentation. Okay. Now you should see the grounding presentation set up here, looking great and everything. And when you come down, this is how big the illustrations are going to look. And I assume
Nice.
am I showing the presentation? It
Yep.
shows it on my screen. I just want to make sure. But
Yeah, you're good.
as I scroll through this, you will have this that will come to you in a PDF, and you'll notice we have all the sections and everything here. Now, so sort of like take this illustration. You'll notice we did a lot of work here. We're talking about the effective ground fault current path here. And what I want to point out, you can see we have actually come in and drawn the conductors going to the bars and everything and to the overcurrent protection devices. So it has been.
Is that the microwave in our break room?
No, that's a computer.
Oh, all right.
But as you can tell, we have spent a lot of time going through making this as easy as possible for apprentices, anybody out there to understand the way that you go in, you connect things and all of that. This is a great layout here. And I always tell everybody, go compare this to anything that's out there. You will not see this type of detail. Now, I will tell you, when I get done with all these illustrations, upgrades, and everything that's doing, this will go into the online version of training. And everywhere, like on this illustration right here, you see a section that's given here. You'll be able, just like you're looking in the PDF, you just hover over that section, click it, and it'll pull up for you. But it doesn't in the presentation. It's only for the online training because a PDF doesn't allow you to do all that stuff. But
the one thing I noticed right away is the receptacle. It's not on an isolated ground, and that computer's supposed to blow up, right?
yeah. All right, now.
So from a grounding standpoint, I think that's important for people to understand the difference between that clean ground, dirty ground, stuff like that.
Yeah, we actually get into that when we get over to 250.96, and also we tie it in with 250.146D. So we do have all that. We even come in, this is a good example of one here, where we'll have the illustration, we'll show you how to calculate that fault current. So this is a full breakdown here. You'll notice we tell you our grounding electrode at 5 ohms, that comes from the IEEE Green Book. We come in, show you the service conductors, what size, everything. We got the main set here. All your information's here that you need. Okay. We even show the feeder and branch circuit size. And then come down over here, and then you'll see we come in and we calculate everything. We show you how to determine getting the branch circuit, and we show you how to get the feeder. Then we do the total resistance over here in the bigger illustration. So, and then we show you where did we get the resistance from. We tell you to go look at chapter 9, table 8, and we show you how we determine and calculate those resistances in order to do these calculations. Okay. And I'll tell you, go look at any other publications. You're not going to see this stuff. I've looked at them. You can go look at soars all day long. It's not going to show you all this stuff. And
Yeah.
that's why we spent so much time going through all this, because we wanted it to be as good as it can get. Here's another one here. This is a great example. We're actually showing you here, if you look in that illustration right below the transformer there, you're going to see your high impedance device there. That's what your impedance device looks like. Okay, so we've
I didn't think you could do that. I didn't think you could have a. I just think it's funny that all these guys are like, you can't do that, you know.
Sure you
But
can.
like, yeah, I know. It's just funny. It's like, oh wow, here you are showing it in an illustration. That's awesome.
Well, sure, and we go through. We show you the impedance device here is 140 ohms. Well, about how much amperage is going to flow through there? Okay. Well, you got a 277 volts here that's going to flow across that. Divide it by 140 ohms. It's going to tell you there's about 2 amps of ground fault current that's going to flow across that. And
Right.
see, and I'll tell you, go look at these other publications. You won't see this. Now, this is one of my favorite illustrations I'm about to show. All right. This is where we have a high-rise building, and we're setting up and we're putting multiple separately derived systems throughout the system here, or through the high-rise building. We actually go and show you how to go and do this with the feeder going up, everything. We show you where you have a common ground that's going up. I mean, this has a lot of information in it. And then we go and ask you, what size common grounding electroconductor is required to ground the 7 transformers for each 4? Well, we come in and show you how to go get the circular mill, then take that circular mill, multiply it by the 4s, which is 7, and that'll give you your circular mill, tell you what the KC mill is, and then you go over and look at table 250.66, and it'll tell you it needs to be a 3-aught conductor.
Yeah, and it never has to be larger than a 3-aught.
That's right. But we're showing you how to go over and get that table. And if you look at 250.30A6A1, it tells you it's no larger than a 3-aught. But
Nice.
all that information is there. It's for you to look at. Here's another good example of one where you come in and we're talking about the grounding conductor and where you're feeding another building or structure. And we go in and we tell you how to go in and what size neutral is required over based on the load. And then based on the neutral load and the equipment ground, you select the largest of the 2. And we show you how to do that based on 250.32B1 exception 1. And this is where you're going to another building. So
Nice.
that's why I tell everybody, just when you go through this, you are going to be very, very impressed with the way they've done it. Something as simple as this, they've gone in and actually drawn where you got a generator that's mounted to a vehicle. How do you go about grounding that? And it's grounded to where? It's grounded to the vehicle frame. We have all this information here. It just, God, I could just sit here and go on all day with this. Here's one where you get in and you're talking about the concrete encased electrode, and where the building's still, there's 2 methods there and how it grounds in and everything. So we're showing you where you're doing it vertically, and we show you how you're doing it horizontally. Okay?
Right.
So we go into all that. And this is interesting because I don't know how they get away with this, but it says okay to extend up in 250.68C3. Well, wait a minute. I thought I could go lower than that. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's based on you extend a number 4 up there and you connect it with a number 4. So
Sure.
there's some things that are, we go through and we really go through and explain all of this stuff. But I hope everybody enjoys this portion that we did here. Okay?
It's gonna be interesting how they explain some of the stuff they say is coming down the pike.
Oh yeah. Well, and we also have here, which I will show this, where we got the lightning protection here. And then I'm going to show some of the newer illustrations I think everybody will really, really like. Let me go over to my window. Let's see, where is that thing? I got so much pulled up. Not seeing it there. Let me see. Let me go over and make sure it's opened up. Sometimes things are not open. Let's see.
Yeah, and just to let everyone know, a big shout out to you, James, for riding the coattails of your dad. That actually first time ever made an illustrated code change book. First ever of all of these different books that he wrote, and we're taking them from grayscale, home written by Billy, to like home drafted illustrations that were sold at the supply house in the 70s.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, the 21st century of, modern electoral education. So it means a lot that, you chose me to kind of hang out with and influence your mind and get you to, believe that you have to put a strap on a 3-foot section in a raceway and, stuff like that, and so a really big shout out to you, James.
I appreciate it. This is where you get in. This will sort of show you what it's going to look like in your lightning protection course. So you can just go through here. It's pretty interesting because we actually get in, talk about the rolling sphere and the radius that's developed above this if you get lightning strikes outside the building with your strike termination devices. So as you go in, we look at heights of building, and you can just see what area is protected, not protected, if it's a 1-to-1 zone or 1-to-2 zone. We literally break down every bit of that for you. And then say, like we were looking at this earlier, this is your full version of it. And you can see that when you throw this up on the screen, it's clear. Everything looks really good. I mean, there's been a lot of work done here. I'm very proud of this. So that gets you in your lightning protection. Now let me show you the new stuff. Okay.
So we had one where it was a job I was on. Guys disconnected a piece of equipment, and they had just a section of copper that was going through the roof. It was like a vent or something.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't connected to anything. It wasn't bonded or anything. And the lightning hit it. It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Lightning hit that section of copper. Copper came in the building, hit a section of parallel runs at EMT, and just basically melted the set screws, just melted the couplings. But you could see where it went all the way through those couplings, and the first coupling was just melted, and then the additional ones actually opened the overcurrent device, which
Right.
I think it was like a 2,000 amp or something like that.
Right.
But it was pretty crazy to see it in real life, to actually look at it and be like, wow, it melted a coupling.
Yeah, sure.
That's a lot of heat, a lot of voltage at a short amount of time.
All right. Now, I think everybody's really going to like this. I'm actually going to give this away as a gimme. This will be where you get in.
You duplicated lemon heads in there?
Oh, yeah.
Wow, you got 2 lemon heads in there.
Well, this will be layout of the NEC. We actually go through, talk about the administration and enforcement. We go through and do the introduction, showing where the NEC takes over and where the NESC is. And we go through, you can look, we drew new transformers. I mean, everything. This here gets into chapter 1. You can see we've drawn new transformers here, panel boards.
Nice. Show where the service point was.
Like this in here, we show you where you can just look at the panel board coming in. It's 48277. You'll see we're using a gray conductor for the neutral. You can come in. We've actually drawn the guts inside to the disconnect. We also did it for the controller, just like you'd see a controller out in the field and going feeding this
Nice.
It's just a quick layout where you're does installing wiring methods. We go through, show you just a basic illustration on that. Then we get into where you're dealing with your different type of equipment here. We're actually sizing the overcurrent device here. And once again, you'll see there's NEC loops there. We just go through. Now, this is something everybody's going to be happy with. This is sort of what you're going to get into when we're doing the new Hazardous. This is what your explosion-proof equipment looks like, and I'll show you some others that we draw on here in a minute. We also get in and show you what your Type X purge and pressurized equipment looks like and what Type Z looks like. And we're actually going to show these where they're actually installed on the stand and showing the piping coming out and everything, hitting the sensors and all that other stuff when we do
Is that a class 4 transmitter? Or it's wireless, right? So like the class 4 would be like a wired connection, right?
I don't remember. I don't remember exactly what that was, to be honest. I have to go back and look. You asked a question I'm not sure of.
Okay.
Then we've seen this in the Journeyman. This is our new welder that we show here. This is an arc welder. And then we've drawn new generators. You'll see 3 new type of generators that have all the, when this blows up, you'll see all the controls over in the panel, just exactly like they'd be labeled if you're out in the field. This showing where you're dealing with communications. We're showing a type of communication control that would be the main control panel for the whole building. So we got stuff like that. Then we go in and show you where you're sizing your conductors. And now you get into some really good stuff here. This is where we get in and start looking at OSHA subpart S, which is general industry. Subpart K is where we're getting in and we're dealing with construction. You'll see that we actually come over. They set up here on the top left-hand side a temporary service put in over here with the receptacles and everything. So they did that. This is one of the new lift trucks that we drew where they would use when they're going out setting these towers up and everything. So when you look at this is one where we drew for some of the new bucket trucks that we're going to show in our OSHA high voltage and telecommunications publication. This is just basically applying 70E. We're showing you new switch gear there. This in here is where we're showing 70B. We have process equipment. This is getting into 79 where you have industrial machinery. So we got the machinery here that we've drawn. Come over here, we get in the purpose of the National Electrical Safety Code. We drew new transformers where all your connections. We even show a new one here at the top, which you would see if you went into one of the control units. They've got a big screen that's up there. Then they got all these other screens down here that they monitor with. And then we did a new one here. This actually one of my favorite ones. But we went in and showed a bunch of different ones here for UL listing and labeling, something that you would see out in the field, what the label would look like on a piece of equipment. We also did here for the UL White Book and talking about this and setting it up with NEC loop, or in this case, having a switchboard that's listed in the UL White Book that you would go and look at. I
want to do a big shout out to all the people out there that follow us. The number one thing is Mike Barr. When he comes on here, he gives us that distinct difference between the utility and what we do. We're basically called inside wiremen. He's like a utility guy. But big shout out to Mike Barr and Arc in a Box and Arc in the Air. That when he said that meant a lot to me because I never heard that before.
Yeah, we actually cover that in Annex D in the 70E document where we do Arc in a Box, and then once you're out the dimensions of the box, it's considered free air, basically.
Nice.
This in here showing a new computer unit that you would see where they have their units that are set up and they may daisy chain them all together. We actually showed this and talk about having the control numbers and everything on there and it being a listed and labeled piece of equipment uh, and having approval. This here's where you get in and we look at, they may do custom made equipment. And when you're doing custom made equipment, you can see, and I want to point this out. This is a brand new illustration, but you'll see we have an OSHA loop. And I've gone through this before, and you've seen me discuss 1910.7, right? Okay. Yeah. Then if you look at the bottom one there, we say design by. You design by the National Electrical Code, UL 508 and 508, the ANSI C series, and NFPA 79. So when they come in and say, oh, well, the code overrides that. No, it doesn't. And the reason is because they do design by the NEC. We've had this in our publication for over 20-something years, and nobody's ever said that you have to use the NEC to override it.
Because the NEC is like a supporting document.
Yeah, it's a supporting document in that case. And if you look here, this is where we're talking about applying UL 508. And look, when you go look at 508, everything is set up where it's designed with the NEC. And then when you get into industrial control panels, it tells you to look where? At Article 409. See that? I mean, you come in and you just start looking at all of these in here. All of this ties in together. That's why it's very important that you know what you're looking at. And then you got your authority having jurisdiction. Now, let me go in and let me show one more thing and I'm done. Okay. I want to show a little bit more of what we have done. This is one that I have that deals with Chapter 4. That's in the design book. You're going to notice we've actually come in and we've drawn these transformers now. And this will get in pretty heavy, showing you all the different type of systems that are available, okay? And as you go through this, we show you how to calculate the windings here. This is an open delta system, and we're saying if you have one winding defective, what's the amperage on it? Looky there. We even show you the calculations how to do this. And I always tell everybody, go out there and compare. See if you get this information from another publication. Okay?
True.
Now, I want to go in and I want to go past this portion right here. This is just getting into things. But I want to show some of the new hazardous that we've actually drawn for some of this. Now, this is where you're going to get in, and a lot of people never seen this, but this is the type of power source that you're going to see out on the job that's less than 50 volts for an intrinsically safe circuit. And this power device is going to look just like this, and it'll have all your indicator lights and everything, but it'll be marked on one side. It'll say non-IS. That means it's non-intrinsically safe on that side. And then once I go through there and go to the barrier on the other side that's hazardous, you'll see it marked IS for intrinsically safe. Okay? So we spent a lot of time going through this. Here's another where we get into intrinsically safe. And these are the different type of things that you could see on the system here. You could have a transmitter, you could have a sensor here. And these are this is exactly how you're going to see them out on the job. These are the type of equipment that you would take and put on this system in order to have your transmitter and sensor here. And so we spent a lot of time going through putting all this together. Here's a new type of an enclosure here that has intrinsically safe circuits, and then coming out of that and going into a cable tray with your intrinsically safe circuits. Okay. Sure. So as you go through and you start looking at this, these are the type of things you're going to see. Here's one where you have an intrinsically safe circuit, and I'm coming in from over here and I'm going in and I'm going to do my identification at the terminals, everything, where I'm coming in over to a gas pump. And you can see, just looking at this, look at the detail that was put in here, just here for the gasoline pump that we did.
Yeah.
That's why I tell everybody, go look at these others. You will not see this type of detail in these. This is
and a lot of people get confused on that with hazardous location because you're going from two different classified locations, and that's why you have to have seals on both sides.
Yeah, matter of fact, when I get over there, that's where you get over, and we'll get into 511 and 514. One deals with the gasoline station, the other deals with service areas. And we actually go in and we talk about how far do you go out that's considered the class locations. And we'll go through and explain all of that. But when I'm just dealing with a hazardous location area, that's not something that's in a defined article of the National Electrical Code. There's other things you have to take into consideration, and you're going to be looking at pressure and in the raceways, and I don't say raceway, but tubing that they have there, that they've made all their connections and everything for all of these sensing devices and everything. Well, if you get a leak, what's the pressure? I think it'd shoot 100 foot. You may have to classify that whole room. So those are things that we get into, and then we take you over to table 4.4.1 that's over in NFPA 497 and look at the table, and we discuss with you the upper and lower flammable limits, your MSEG, which is your maximum experimental safe gap. We get in your MIC ratios and all kinds of stuff. So we actually spend the time going through all of this stuff. And I think anybody that is looking at this is just a primer of what is coming with the detail in the illustration. So I hope everybody likes everything we're doing, but come Tuesday, be paying attention to the groups and stuff. I'm going to provide links and stuff. And I'm going to do the grounding and bonding, and I'm going to do the lightning protection. I'm going to do it for 2 weeks. That's it. 2 weeks, you're going to get it probably a third of the, two-thirds the cost of what it normally costs. But it'll be in a PDF in color. And if you want that PDF, this is your opportunity to get it, something that costs $50-$60, you're going to be able to get it for 20. Okay, I'll do the grounding and bonding for 20, and then the lightning protection will probably be, since it's a specialized book, I'll probably do it at $15. So if you want to get that, have a PDF, we'll have those there for sale for you for 2 weeks at that price. After that, you missed out. So,
and if you're an instructor and you prove you're an instructor, they'll send you the PDF for a presentation.
Well, now that you'll purchase the publication and get the presentation. So that's something that will be set up through Builder's Bookstore. I provided the link in the comments. And I can tell you the grounding and bonding and lightning protection ain't ready yet. They're getting all the sales stuff and everything together to put on there, and it won't be long. They'll have the PDFs on there for sale, and they'll probably have it on there where you can actually purchase the colored copy, and they probably will do it in grayscale too. So they've got to do some, website stuff and get everything ready. But I can tell you, I sent it over there, and Amber saw it and everything, and she said everybody was like, wow. She said, they sell the swords, they sell mics, everything. They said, this here, if you're doing everything like this, she literally said, you are setting a new standard. She said, this is incredible what y'all done. So I've been promising everybody for a long time, it's coming. Well, you're starting to see it. And hopefully here by the end of summer, you'll have the generator, transformer, motor compressor, the Journeyman, and Masters all in color, updated to 2023. And each time I come out with one of those, I will run it as a special, and give you 2 weeks on it to purchase those too. If you miss out before then, and all those will be PDFs I do those specials on. Now, if you want it in book form, you'll pay whatever price they come up with, because they do it based on how many pages and then profit percentage and all that. So I don't even know what the cost will be, but I can tell you the grounding book, after we finished it and everything, there's exactly 199 illustrations in it.
Wow.
And that's it.
That's awesome. Well, like I say, I paid, I think it was like $65 for the illustrated 2023 code change book, and it was in color, and actually got you on one of your own questions in there. So, so it meant a lot to me that I gotcha. And so now,
very rare.
Now we have the easiest Willie Quiz I've ever put together.
What's it on this week?
Video games. It's easy. You should know video games from 70s.
Oh, it's on there. Okay, I might do pretty good. All right, let's cue it up. Everybody get ready to take me on. Here we go.
Okay.
You are now entering the zone of the Willie Quiz. Enter at your own risk.
All right, a totally big shout out to everyone. Thanks every week for joining part of the Willie Quiz. They're always super easy. I never want to trick anyone, but I want to start with question number 1. The word Tetris comes from a combination of the Greek word tetra, meaning 4. The creator of Tetris, Alexei Pajitnov, was a fan of what 6-letter sport? Was it A, soccer? Was it B, skiing? Was it C, racing? Was it D, hockey? Or was it E, tennis? Good luck, everyone.
All right.
And I knew this one would be easy for you, James, because you know that I think he was a Russian guy. So I don't know. I don't know what Russians like that much.
I know you're doing that, say hockey, but it ain't hockey. I know that. My wife used to play this, my ex-wife. She played Tetris, and I know the game. I've seen her play it. So it's either got to be A or E, and I'm not 100% sure which one, because I know how the game plays. I never really played it, but I think you're going back and forth, so it's trying to drop down. Soccer's actually a team thing. So it's sort of more like an individual sport, I would assume, which would make you want to think skiing or racing, but that doesn't really play to the way Tetris is played. So I think I'll go with E. I think it's tennis. E's my decision this week. I'm going with E.
All right, James. Well, I'm gonna have to tell you, you're absolutely right. That is the answer. E. I don't know how you got Tetris out of tennis, but
Well, because I know
you're correct.
Tetris. I know Tetris. I watched her play, and uh, isn't Tetris the one where the things are up top and you're trying to knock them out?
They like spin around and they lock in.
Yeah,
They're like
lock in,
blocks.
and yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah, that's what I thought Tetris was.
Yeah. All
Okay.
right. Well, you got it. One and one. So sorry, Daniel. You're missing out on another chance to dethrone the champ.
Oh, that's
All right. Question number 2. In 2015, which game was not introduced into the Video Game Hall of Fame? Is it A, Tetris? Is it B, Pac-Man? Is it C, Asteroids? Or is it D, Super Mario Brothers? Good luck, everyone. See, I told you it was going to be easy, James. I told you you'd have no problem.
This one's a hard one. Okay, I know Super Mario Brothers and Pac-Man were very popular, very popular. When I was growing up, I loved Asteroids. That was, but there were some, I could see where something like Space Invaders or Donkey Kong went ahead of it. And Tetris, I'm trying to remember when it came out, but Tetris was a very, very popular game. So it's either A or C, because I would think Mario Brothers and Pac-Man were big ones.
Keep in mind that this is which game was not introduced into the Hall of Fame.
That's what I'm saying. I'm looking at
in that year, though. It's not saying that it wasn't introduced into the Hall of Fame. It just wasn't introduced that year.
See, I'm
not trying to confuse you on that. Not trying to confuse you on that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Pac-Man, Super Mario Brothers, and Tetris came out way after Asteroids.
Yeah.
So, more than likely, Asteroids would have been one of your top ones back with Space Invaders, Donkey Kong, and all that I grew up with. So,
right.
I figure it probably went in before then. Since
I think 2015 was one of the first years.
I'm going to go with C. I'm going with C because I think Asteroids would have been before those three. So C's my answer.
Right. Well, it's one of those things, James, that, you always run into every now and then. You get a correct answer, so C is the correct answer. Tetris, Pac-Man, and Super Mario Bros. Were all introduced in 2015 into the Game Hall of Fame.
You would have got me if you'd have said what was introduced in 2015, but I was looking at Asteroids being way before those would have been introduced. So,
all right,
I had a reason behind it. All right,
yeah.
Let's go to the next
one. Let's see if we got your answer in here 2 times in a row. All right, so which of these games was added to the Video Game Hall of Fame in 2017? Was it A, Donkey Kong? Was it B, Asteroids? Was it C, Space Invaders? Or was it D, Tetris? Good luck, everyone. Alright, so I made this real easy for you. Super, super easy. Because you already got 2 answers correct, so.
Well, We know it's not Asteroids because I think it was
Mm-hmm.
before, and I think
Mm-hmm.
Space Invaders was before, and Donkey Kong
Mm-hmm.
came out after those. So it's Donkey Kong or Tetris. Um, Golly, I was trying to remember how long it was Donkey Kong come out after that. That was one of my favorite. I think I remember I used to play Space Invaders. Donkey Kong come out about the same time Centipede did, and we
Yeah.
used to play Asteroids and Space Invaders. Those were the best ones at that time. And I
Right.
think it was three, 2, 3 years after, or maybe four, that those two come out because I was playing pinball, 8 ball, Maserati, and those. So, God dang, that's a tough one. Because I don't know when Tetris come out. I think Tetris might
Yeah.
even came out after. Let's see.
Yeah. Tetris came out after Donkey Kong.
Well, I know it come out quite a bit after, but it's one of those two. God dang. I'm gonna do something here. I'm gonna flip a coin because let's see if the coin comes out right tonight. I'm gonna go heads for Donkey Kong, D for Tetris. Let's see what happens. I got heads, so it says I'm going Donkey Kong tonight.
Oh man, it's too bad that coin gave you the right answer. Donkey Kong is correct. You got super lucky, and Daniel would have got smashed by the Hillary Clinton voting machine that you have in your basement. So
The coin is
uh,
1 for 1. That's the first time I've done that.
yeah, well. You got it on that one, so good job with it. I told you it was easy. I told you it was easy. You know, I make them easy every time. You know, I try not to make them too hard. I try to make it to where people in the chat can kind of compete with you. But we'll see. You know, I got to do a little bit better. I try to throw some things in there, you know, that make you think and everything. But the biggest thing is everyone gets to learn on the Willie Quiz. So.
Hey,
It's a lot of fun. I appreciate doing it.
we did
I need
Thursday and
to.
Sunday. That's 6 for 6 right there.
Yeah, yeah. You did good. You did good. I'm gonna have to up my game. I'm gonna have to come out with like famous bank robbers again, and maybe come out with some different things. Maybe go. Maybe I could do some OSHA sub parts because you said you were the greatest at sub parts. You know, so
I do know my
maybe
sub part's pretty good.
you know, maybe do some obscure sub parts, you know, something that, you know, study a lot, but we'll see. I might have something new. I'll think of something that you know you might not be well versed on. I might do World Cup soccer, you know.
That I will have no idea. I'll be
See?
guessing. But
All
those
right, folks. Next week, World Cup soccer.
I guess at those today, I did reasoning, you know, for what I played growing up and everything, and just sort of, you know, because I was sitting there thinking to myself, well, golly, all those others, first one, all those three were probably pretty close to the same era. So the only thing that's left before that is Asteroids. So,
Yeah.
you know, I just
No,
do process of
actually,
elimination.
as a trivia thing, Asteroids has never been inducted into the Hall of Fame.
See, and I didn't I say that? I said it wasn't considered one of the best ones, even though when I was growing, that was one of the favorite ones everybody played was Asteroids and Space
Yeah.
Invaders. And then after that, the two big ones that come out, everybody just freaked out over was Pac-Man and Donkey Kong. Those were.
I was
just
crossing my
best.
fingers. I was crossing my fingers, thinking you were gonna pick Asteroids as one of them, and you picked the right one. So you know.
Well, I just
You,
remember
you,
growing up and what everybody liked and didn't like. And there's a few of us love Asteroids, but not everybody liked Asteroids. But everybody liked Space Invaders, Pac-Man, and Donkey Kong. Those are like and the other one everybody liked. Those were like your four best. Matter of fact, if you ever watched Adam Sandler the show Pixel?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, if you look, what were the games? There wasn't no asteroids on there, but there was Centipede and Donkey Kong and Pac-Man. Those three were in Pixel. That tells you there, those were the three top ones. And that's what I remember growing up. And when he did that show Pixel, that's why, I was like, well, naturally, they picked the top three from the generation I grew up with. And those were the ones that I went with.
I should have had Centipede in there.
Centipede would have made me even think harder because I might have picked it between that and Donkey Kong. That would have been hard. And Tetris was a tough one on me because I'm not sure when it came out because I never really played Tetris, but my ex-wife did. So I just remember her doing it, but that was probably 10 years after, So I was like,
yeah.
Oh, I was putting the dates together, and that's why I was on Donkey Kong and Tetris. So
nice. Well, I really appreciate everyone joining. Dude, we've been cranking strong. Like we had 3 over on Facebook, 3 over on Rumble, and at least 7 over here on YouTube live the whole time. And we got 3 likes over there on Facebook. Really appreciate you guys joining. That's so awesome. It means a lot. It means a lot to me and James putting them together. And like I say, I don't spend too much time. I know you don't spend too much time, but that's kind of why we do it. It's a lot of fun and
sure it is.
Get everyone thinking every week.
I hope everybody really likes all the new publications, presentation, everything. I can tell you, Dad and I are very, very, I guess you could say, proud of them because we put a lot of effort and time into them. So hopefully everybody likes it.
It's been at least 3 times that I've had to take your 2023 Illustrated Code Change book and have people take pictures of it so they can order it because they like it so much and they just want to know which one to order. So, like I say, it's one of my favorite publications I've ever ordered. And from one of the books, it's in color too. And like I say, it's awesome. Like I say, I'm just hoping I could pull another question out I can maybe get you with on Thursday.
We'll see.
So, we'll see. But so far, you're 1 for 1 of your own publications. So that's pretty good for me. That means I just gotta get you one more, start getting you on that old losing record. But it means a lot that you're such a good sport and everyone sees that you're really down to earth and you're just not like an arrogant asshole and you just like everyone to learn and we have a good time doing these and boom, hit 1,000 posts off nameplate and thanks for covering that, James. Means a lot. And like I say, hopefully everyone learns from those nameplate posts and we can, grow as a group of electricians that are trying to just wire stuff the correct way and not blow anything up.
I think with all the new stuff that's coming out and everything, I think the people out there in the industry stuff's going to be extremely happy with what you can get. Just remember, come Tuesday, I'm going to post it out for 2 weeks and you'll be able to get it at a substantial discount for a limited time. And then after that, it goes up. But I'll do that with each new publication that comes out. I'll give you 2 weeks, to get it at a great price in PDF format. And it'll be rich in color and all the links and everything provided for you. Matter of fact, just like I've already done 4 complete chapters for the generator, transformer, motor, compressor, the generator. I've got 2 more chapters due, and I'm going to put it out for sale. Just the generator portion. Then it'll come out as full book. But one of the cool things is when you get to the generator, there's 6 chapters there. Well, you get at the front, there will be a link that takes you to whatever chapter you want to go to. But once you get to the chapter, I also have all the topics in each chapter where you can click in each chapter and go to the topic you want. And then anywhere in there, it refers you back. It could refer you back to looking like it. You could be in chapter 5 and say it referred you back to figure 2-2, for instance. It'll take you right back over there to it. So we're going to have all those links and everything in there. And I think everybody's really going to enjoy being able just to boom, 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 get all the information you want with all the linking and everything. And, you know, it takes us a long time to do all that, but I think in the end it's worth it to everybody.
Well, and thanks for joining tonight, Bridget. Thanks for joining tonight, Oscar. Thanks for joining tonight, Mr. G. Really awesome to have Mr. G in the house. And thanks for joining all you people. Thanks for joining Bailey. You know, that was really awesome. Bailey coming in here, trolling Pops. And we really appreciate everyone just coming in and telling me that my music is like the best music. You know, that's really awesome. Really appreciate it.
It's fire, baby. It's fire.
Yeah, you're more than welcome to come in anytime, Bailey, and say my music is fire. So that means a lot, and we really appreciate everyone joining every week. We'll have a new episode coming up on Thursday, and remember, make every day an easy day. That's all I got, James.
Me too. Everybody have a good week. If you have any comments or anything, just go over to Stallcup Electrical Education on Facebook, or go to StallcupEducation.com. Go over there. You can go to the website and contact me there. Anything you're interested in, or just go to Builder's Bookstore. They'll take care of it also. So other than that, I'm good, brother. I'm ready to go eat.
Yep. Have a happy Memorial Day weekend, everyone. Enjoy your day off, and deuces.
Deuces. Catch everybody later.